Subscribe now because what you're about to hear is so outrageous, so unpredictable, and so drenched in ego-fueled chaos, you'll question if Ray J is living in reality or just starring in his own unscripted soap opera. And tonight's episode, Ray J walks into a gay club thinking he's the main event and leaves realizing he's not even on the flyer, because this story spirals harder than a roller coaster with no brakes, featuring thongs, spotlights, unbothered dancers, and a man so desperate to be the center of attention that he exposed his own humiliation to the world on purpose. So buckle up because Hot Trash TV has the tea, and Ray J just spilled every last drop on himself, starting with him pulling up to the club. It's still 2005 and he's got a chart-topping hit on the radio, strutting in with the confidence of a man who thought he'd shut the place down with his presence alone, but instead got hit with the cold slap of reality when not a single soul blinked twice at him while Princess Love, his ex and the real star of the night, was showered with attention, compliments, and camera flashes from every direction, leaving Ray J standing in the shadows, looking like a lost extra on Love and Hip Hop reunion night. And rather than taking it in stride, this man let jealousy choke him like a turtleneck 2 sizes too small, because in his mind, this wasn't how the night was supposed to go. He imagined people chanting his name, reminiscing over One Wish, maybe even asking him for selfies. He was the second coming of Usher, but what he got instead was the sound of stilettos clacking past him while the club erupted in cheers for Princess, as if Ray J had just turned invisible. And the insecurity hit so hard, in fact, that it activated his delusion mode, and suddenly Ray J's night turned from chill to cringe, faster than you can say relevance. Because that's when the performers hit the stage and turned the energy up to 100, with men, yes, buff men built like NFL linebackers, storming the platform wearing nothing but socks, and not on their feet either. We're talking socks wrapped around their eggplants like bedroom boas, swinging them with the confidence of a runway model and the force of a wrecking ball. And Ray J, instead of looking away or quietly exiting like any sane person overwhelmed by unexpected adult content, sat there in horror mixed with curiosity, narrating it all like he was hosting a nature documentary on late-night cable, describing the performers in detail. The way they twirled, the way they twerked, the way they glided across the stage like gymnasts on a mission, and that's when it hit him. He wasn't the moment, he wasn't even invited to the moment, and the realization that nobody in that club wanted Ray J, not even for a drink, sent his ego into cardiac arrest. But wait, it gets worse, because this man, instead of keeping this humiliation locked in a vault, decided to sit down and tell the story on camera. It was a flex, smiling through the whole thing like a man who just won a Grammy, saying how he went to take photos with people, and the dancers kept getting closer, like inch-by-inch invasion of his personal space, until Ray J was one sock swing away from losing all sense of masculinity. And it was then, surrounded by glitter, lights, and half-naked confidence, that he panicked and dipped like Scooby-Doo from a haunted hallway, leaving the club so fast it left a cartoon cloud behind. But if he had just left it there, if he had simply gone home and reflected in silence, just maybe, he could have escaped this disaster with a sliver of dignity. But no, Ray J had to go full diary mode, pouring every embarrassing beat into a story he thought would earn him respect, or laughs, or even sympathy. And what he got instead was the internet treating him like the opening act of the Clown Tour 2025. With TikTokers, Twitter threads, and meme pages having a field day turning his quotes into comedy gold. And instead of damage control, Ray J doubled down, leaning into the chaos like it was his brand, proving once again that the man is addicted to attention, even when it burns, and it's not even about sexuality or club culture. It's about the ego, the performance, the desperate chase to stay relevant in a world that's moved on from Raycons and Scooty bikes, because the man who once dropped One Wish is now out here reliving a one-night disaster and acting like it was a milestone moment. And to add gasoline to the fire, Sukihana somehow got dragged into the mix. Not because she was there, but because her name has become the shorthand for celebrity chaos. And Ray J, by all accounts, is officially enrolled in her school of viral thirst. Traps and public breakdowns. Because this isn't about art, talent, or legacy anymore. It's about who can go viral the fastest, who can do the most outrageous thing for the most attention. And Ray J has proven he'll risk his entire brand just to be part of the conversation. Even if the conversation is mostly laughing at him, because at the root of it all is a man who has everything. Money, family, businesses, recognition, but somehow still feels empty, still feels the need to be seen, to be validated, to be desired. And that's the tragic part. Because this isn't the first time Ray J's found himself in headlines for all the wrong reasons. From the messy princess love drama, to the clout-chasing reality shows, to now confessing his gay club ego meltdown like it was a badge of courage. And it's starting to look less like eccentric celebrity behavior, and more like a full-blown identity crisis playing out in real time. And the saddest part is he doesn't even realize it. He's laughing, performing, oversharing, and spiraling, all while thinking he's just giving fans a peek into his life. When really, he's giving the world a front row seat to a man unraveling in designer sneakers. And we're not here saying there's anything wrong with going to a gay club. Plenty of people do. But the problem is turning that space into your personal validation arena, then melting down when you're not treated like royalty, and turning that meltdown into a public podcast performance to deserve applause for surviving the night without being the center of attention. And this is where we all have to pause and ask, what is really going on with Ray J? Because this can't just be a funny story. This feels like a man screaming into the void, hoping someone will clap, hoping someone will care, hoping the clicks and views will fill the void inside. That's growing louder with every scandal. And what makes it worse is that Ray J clearly doesn't have real people around him telling him the truth. Because a real friend would have said, Ray, maybe don't tell the whole world you freaked out because no one hit on you at the gay club. Or, Ray, maybe don't describe sock-swinging dancers like it's a horror film. Or, Ray, maybe just go to therapy instead of telling your life story like it's a TikTok skit. But apparently no one in his circle is willing to pump the brakes. So here we are, watching another grown celebrity spiral in high definition, begging the spotlight to stay on just a little longer, even if the reason for the attention is completely humiliating. And honestly, the internet isn't even mad. It's just disappointed. Because there's something deeply sad about watching a man with so much opportunity, so much legacy, reduce himself to memes and meltdowns just to get back in the algorithm. And as for Princess Love, let's give her a round of applause for simply showing up, shining, and reminding everyone who the real star is. Because while Ray J was busy pouting in the corner and narrating the Sock Chronicles, she was glowing, unbothered, and proving once again that she's always been the prize. And that might just be what triggered Ray J the most. Not the dancers, not the club, not even the lack of attention, but the realization that the woman he once fumbled is now outshining him in every room, in every light. And that's a kind of pain no viral moment can fix. Because this wasn't just a club story, it was a metaphor, a snapshot of a man trying to recapture a spotlight that's long since moved on. And if Ray J doesn't take a step back soon, doesn't seek real help, doesn't stop oversharing trauma to promo tour, he's going to find himself not just mocked, but forgotten. Because eventually, the internet moves on, the memes dry up, and all that's left is a grown man standing alone, wondering why the applause stopped. And if you've been watching this unfold thinking it's just entertainment, think again, because this is a cautionary tale in real time. A blueprint for what happens when clout becomes more important than character. And if Ray J really wants to reclaim his legacy, he's going to need more than podcast stories and sock anecdotes. He's going to need healing, silence, and maybe a week without Wi-Fi. Because right now he's not giving icon, he's not giving legend, he's giving meme, meltdown, and midlife crisis with a side of glitter. And unless someone hits pause, we're all about to witness the season finale of a man who flew too close to the clout, only to crash and burn in front of millions. So drop a comment if you think Ray J needs to log off.